Last time on Luckyfish, we had some great sailing under spinnaker, enjoyed some home cooking, got a visit from a pilot whale, and made our first sighting of the island. We were full of anticipation as we sailed past to Jamestown. We had made St Helena in time for New Year's celebration. We swung into the mooring field and called the harbour master's office to make arrangements to land. A small ferry boat arrived and helped attach our mooring lines. We tied bow and stern due to the strong currents. It was a sweet moment. We'd made it, our first milestone. The dinghy landing at Jamestown can be pretty hairy, so we were inclined to use the ferry boat. The swells were not too bad for most of our stay, as long as we were patient and waited for the right moment. Embarking and disembarking went off without a hitch. As we walked along the wharf, it felt like we had slipped through a wormhole and travelled back 300 years. We met the harbour master and then visited customs and immigration so we could pay our fees, which were quite reasonable. We were warmly welcomed by saints everywhere, and learned that the girls were the first Mongolians to set foot on the island. It was also Tuya's first island ever. Wait.
He gets fresh bread from the where he gets it from.
Oh, you go and ask him. We checked out the two supermarkets in the main street. We'd been warned to expect things to be pricey, but seriously? The ship hadn't been for 2 weeks, and so fresh fruit and veggies were in short supply. Lettuce is looking a bit sad. Keen to stretch our legs, we climbed Jacob's ladder, an almost vertical climb of 699 steps. At the top, we met a local man who had never been off the island. He was 45 years old. To think he'd never seen a skyscraper, traffic lights, and up until recently, an aircraft. He said he had everything he wants here, and none of the things he doesn't want. We dropped into the sailors' hangout, Anne's place, for a beer before returning to the boat. What are you doing, honey? Facebooking?
Facebooking.
You're kidding me. You're Facebooking? Really? You've got internet here?
Finally, after a million years. Feels like it.
That night we went ashore in the dinghy and celebrated Old Year's last day, one of the many unusual twists to get used to on St Helena. Go on, Tuya, show us how to do it.
Who went? When somebody gets rid of all their 5, right, then whatever you are left with in your hand, that is your score.
We returned to the dinghy late that night and were escorted back to Luckyfish by a pod of dolphins. Their arrival gave us quite a surprise. They played around the yacht while the band played When the Saints Go Marching In. It was a fine end to what had been a great year.
Go marching in, when the saints go marching in. Yes, I want to be in that number when the saints go marching in.
We had planned to stay on St Helena for a couple of days, but found the island so interesting we stayed 2.5 weeks.
Do you do any fishing?
Yeah, beautiful fishing in here.
Are you a fisherman? Not really.
I'm married to a fisherman's daughter.
Oh.
So all the brothers and my wife's father still living. He's 92.
We toured the island with local guide Tony.
The oldest fisherman left in St Helena. Of course, he don't fishing anymore, but he got some tales to tell you, right? Now we go up through this way now, and then this point.
Locals call the island an emerald, set in a ring of bronze. The interior is completely lush, in a stark contrast to the barren red cliffs that tower above the sea.
Hello.
The flax plant was imported from New Zealand in 1874 and eventually became the island's largest export up until 1965. Descendants of the donkeys that transported flax and other goods are now well looked after. This guy here's a character, isn't he, eh? What's going on with you? How come you got hit by the cute stick? Eh?
You get baby faces net. Je voegt in zijn tasten. Geef nou zorgmatig dat net als je moest.
St Helena was discovered in 1502 by the Portuguese. It was the most isolated and pristine piece of land ever encountered by humans. It's hard to imagine this island was unknown to any human for so long. It must have been like Eden itself. After some exchanges between the Portuguese, Dutch and British, St Helena was founded by the British in 1659 and became Britain's second oldest colony after Virginia.
We built up empires. We stole countries. That's what you do. That's how you build an empire. We stole countries with the cunning use of flags. Yeah. You just sail around the world and stick a flag in.
This period marked the start of the British Empire and also the start of a dark period in British history, the slave trade. On St Helena, the slave trade began as an import tax. For any ship arriving from Madagascar, they were required to deliver one slave. It was here, at the top of the main street, under this tree, that many captives were put on display. Between 1807 and 1840, the British government outlawed the trade. They deployed a naval station at St Helena to capture the ships and send their crew to trial. Some 15,000 slaves were freed this way and settled on the island. However, some 5,000 died there. Their graves were discovered in 2012 during the construction of the new airport. Tony was keen to show us the new £260 million airport. Delays with the certification had resulted in just 2 test flights being completed at the time of our visit. A commercial scale test flight was flown 3 months after we left the island. The flight exposed safety issues with wind shear, and the airport has sadly been mothballed to large aircraft while a solution is found. We hope a solution to wind shear can be found, and the island preserves as much of its unique character and charm as possible. We returned to the dock and watched these fine wahoo being offloaded. People can cross oceans in the smallest craft. This local fisherman brought his tiny open boat from South Africa. Inspired by the wahoo we'd seen earlier, the girls tried some fishing.
Speed? Alright, Tuya, land!
Amid much excitement, Tuya caught her first fish. Next time on Luckyfish, we meet the captain and crew of the Hokulea, learn more of the island's history, visit one of the world's oldest living animals, and I discover one of our hulls has cracked.